Dragon Rampant by Robin Hyde. Chapter 1. In Departure. Quite soon now, early in January 1938, I'm leaving New Zealand. In spite of all the reiterated congratulations, I don't want to go. Once I was a journalist. Then, after some illness, at 27 on the permanently retired list. After that, I wrote novels and verses, and the surprising result was that, although I hadn't a penny of independent income, I accumulated £50. This is a large sum in dollars mex, more than the life savings of many a Chinese refugee family. But at that time, I had never heard of the dollar mex. I had spent a good many imaginary years in England, but I felt tired now and shy, and wanted to be left alone to write worse or better verses. However, in an outburst of confidence, I said, "I'm going to England," and when I had told everybody, realised quite clearly that I was still in love with New Zealand. After sidestepping via Panama, via Suez, via Cape Horn, and even via Norwegian grain boat under full sail, which might have been interesting, I went into an agency which advertised the Trans-Siberian route as a sideline. These agents were pleasant, and not, I think, especially Aryan. I left their office having paid a deposit on a trans-Siberial trip from Sydney to London, second class. In Kobe, there would be some delay while I waited to see if USSR would decide I hadn't the look of a person interested in sabotage and let me through. The Russians were also a little tough about rubles, but I thought I could just do it. After the North Australian ports, the route was by Thursday Island, Manila, Hong Kong, Kobe, Vladivostok, Moscow, Warsaw, Berlin, then London. One day in Hong Kong, then transship to Dollar Line for Kobe. So that left out any hope of seeing China, even the smallest tail end of China. All the same, what remained was enough to impress. If New Zealanders don't mind my saying so, about some things we are mostly a little green in New Zealand. For a few weeks, I was Sinbada and enjoyed it vaguely, through being miserable and thinking, anyhow, I haven't enough money, or somebody will rook me in the first port. I hope that will be at least amusing. Will they put me in the same cabin with a woman who has 3 crying babies? What should I wear? I can't afford... I should have kept still and said nothing. But of course it wasn't to be expected I could hold my tongue for 5 minutes together. New Zealand, I expect liking you is at least partly similar to the fuss curried colonels make about mangoes. But there it is. Illusion or not, you work. A letter from Cook's, Shanghai said, "She travels at her own risk, and owing to the disturbed state of the Far East, the firm takes absolutely no responsibility." This induced a newspaper office to give me £20 for some travel tales, paid in advance. I stopped worrying about what to use for rubles in Russia and bought myself some good English shoes for walking cobbled streets at Kobe. Because, stated the writer of an amiable book on Japan, everything else is fine, but nobody can deny anything about those streets. The very good English shoes are gone now. I sometimes think that where they went, and how, and what they did, was so odd that they can't have lain quiet on their final rubbish heap. I was alone and out walking on New Year's Eve. For 3 weeks I had been staying at a place I liked, but had had to leave in the ordinary way of business. Behind it was a road, dark bushy grounds on one side, and on the other blue grums, stubble, and stream, until it came out by a grey, hard-running level of sea. One cottage, on the stream side, stood isolated. It looked old-fashioned and small, with chimneys like wooden legs, and its windows showed no light. Only, as I stood at its gate, somebody inside the house was playing a piano. Soft, thready bits of tune, rather carefully joined, as if a child or a ghost played them. I listened until the thread slackened. I hadn't a thing with me, except a paper bag of plums, and 3 of those I had eaten on the road. So I carried the rest inside, and put the bag down on the path, where the first one who came out could hardly miss it. Then I went away, and everything stayed quietly dark and silver.